This is the Truth Network.
Robbie Dilmore here, and the Truth Network podcasts have helped make MyPillow the company it is today. And now Mike Lindell, who, by the way, I've met and is a great guy, the inventor and CEO of MyPillow, wants to give back to our listeners. For the first time, you can get deep discounts on all MyPillow products if you go to MyPillow.com right now and click on the new radio listener specials. Who never thought that my dream job would be selling MyPillows? Maybe you're getting tired of these sleeping jokes, but you can get deep discounts on MyPillows, mattress toppers, bed sheets, and so much more. For example, the body pillow is regularly $89.99, but with a promo code GETTRUTH, it's only $29.99. Remember, all MyPillow products come with a 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. Just go to MyPillow.com and click on the new radio listener specials and get deep discounts on all MyPillow products, including the body pillow for only $29.99. Enter promo code GETTRUTH or call 800-942-9613 for these great radio specials.
Space, the final frontier.
Yeah, I really don't understand why everybody isn't following the same rules right now. They're very clear, so let's take a minute and let's go over them again. First, you must not leave the house for any reason, unless of course you have a reason, and then you may leave the house. All stores are closed except those that are open, and all stores must close unless, of course, they need to stay open.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
Christian Car Guy Radio Show.
I say this calls for action, and now.
This virus is deadly, but don't be afraid of it. It can only kill people who are vulnerable and also those who are not vulnerable. We should stay locked down until the virus stops infecting people. And it will only stop infecting people if enough of us get infected that we build immunity. So it is very important that we get infected and also do not get infected.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
To boldly go where no man has gone before today on the Christian Car Guy Show. I have my good friend Bob to boldly go with us where no man has gone before.
It's amazing to be here today, brother, and we definitely are in uncharted territory.
Yeah, so no doubt these times are where no man has gone before. I mean, we're discovering moment by moment how little control we really have over our lives. So those sound bites you just heard, I was given those by Anna Alder, my good friend. She sent them to me Thursday night. It was by a comedian, clearly. I don't know who she is or where they came from, but what I know is when I heard it, I was like, that's exactly what I'm thinking. You couldn't say what I was thinking better than the way that she explained those things. Like,
you got to stay at home unless you need to leave.
Yeah.
The stores are closed except for the ones that need to be open.
You can't get it, but you got to get it. I don't know how it all works, but the media, if you listen, it sounds just like that. It's spouting the craziest contradictions I have ever heard. And I think that the situation really, when you begin to process it, is they have nothing but sinking sand in order to grab onto. I mean, they don't. Their worldview is collapsing on them. They are realizing, wow, I really don't know what's going on. And so we're throwing, all these different things at us. But we do have a foundation, and we do have something to grab onto. And it is a fight. I mean, it's a fight like none of us have really ever experienced. I mean, I really think my own personal worldview right this minute is there has never been a time that I've experienced in my life where the spirit of fear rampaged across the culture the way it has. The spirit of death rampaged across the culture. In fact, we were talking about it before the show, Bob, how many people have died that just randomly died. I mean, that didn't have to do with Corona, friends, and then you've got no funeral and all these things. I mean, it's just lots of it. So the spirit of fear, the spirit of death, and the spirit of hate. Like, have you noticed how that people blame each other? What? This is all the Democrats' fault. No, it's Trump's fault. It's and the hate that, like, oh my goodness, Like, how is this? And so here we are. We have a foundation, and we know that we can pray, right, Bob?
Amen.
And we do. And I'm certainly praying for my family, praying, all these prayers against the spirit of death, against the spirit of fear, against the spirit of hate. So, I don't know if you ever noticed this in the Bible, but whenever somebody really was in a desperate fight, it was God who came to comfort them, came to rescue their heart, to show them that he cared and he appreciated how hard they fought. A lot of people think of Elijah after he killed the 850 prophets of Baal, and Jezebel came after him, and he goes running out in the desert, and God sent him the birds, right, to feed him and help him get a drink. And I was studying Samson, actually, this morning, how he, after he killed 1,000 Philistines with a jawbone of a donkey, right? I don't know if you look closely in that passage, but right after he did that, he got really thirsty. And God actually, where he threw that jawbone, actually made a cleft in the rock and outgushed living water, outgushed water that would help Samson be comforted. And so all that to say that if you're like me right now, you're seeking comfort, right? Because you're in the battle all day long. So when you get home at night, now my normal thing is to pray in the morning and spend my time in the Word. But when I get home at night and I just need comfort, I've had the battle all day long. Now what do you do, Robbie? Well, you might be shocked to find out what I was doing. I was going and watching, I was binge watching literally Star Trek.
There's been a lot of binge watching. Friends of mine have told me about the things they've watched and caught up on, and it's been very comforting for them too.
So yeah, I have long been, and I'm talking about Star Trek, the original series. I go on Netflix, and I zoomed right through every one of the original episodes, and I even started watching the movies that had the original cast in them. All the time I'm saying, Jesus, what in the world, why is my heart craving Star Trek? What is it in my heart that is seeking comfort this particular way? Give me some interpretation. Give me some understanding. What is going on in my heart? Because obviously the heart is what drives me. And so when you look at a car, what's driving the car? It's the driver. Well, if you look at your life, your heart is what's driving this, and it's made in God's image. A beautiful thing. So what's driving me? And Jesus says to me, Robbie, you are looking for context. You need a story. Like the Bible's written in story, because we need to figure out what is going on. And you're looking for a story. Star Trek's got lots of them, but every one of them is where no man has gone before.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's always some really bizarre, unique situation that we find the crew of the Starship Enterprise in. And he said to me, and Captain Kirk is the Jesus character, right? He's always going to find a way to get him out. And it's a completely safe thing to watch for you, because no matter, even if they die, if you're familiar with this series, Spock dies, right? But he comes back to life. I mean, they send him somehow or another, his body goes to the Genesis planet, his spirit stays in Dr. McCoy, and all this stuff happens. Time warp, whatever else they need to do in order to make sure that, everybody's going to be okay. And
you have a happy ending every time.
And Jesus says, Romans 8:28, you remember in Star Trek they had the Kobayashi Maru thing, the no-win scenario. Well, Captain Kirk refused to accept the no-win scenario. That's the deal. Well, Romans 8:28 refuses to accept the no-win scenario. Everything works together for good for those who are called by God and living according to his purpose. So, what I'm wondering today, what I would love for you to call in and share, Bob's got a story for us a minute on how he's being comforted, but I'm wondering really if you could share what TV or movies what is your heart craving right now? Now, I actually have created the Star Trekinator to help us interpret these things, so we just want to have a discussion with you. How are you finding comfort? Now, I understand the battle, and I understand the word and those kind of things, but I'm really wondering, what's your heart craving? What are you watching? What movies are speaking to your heart? What's helping you out right now. So 866-348-7884 is the number to call in and share your comfort movie, show, whatever it may be. 866-348-7884. Bob, what's it for you?
I've never seen so much Zoom going on, and when I first started seeing it, I was like, what's up with that? But then I got to thinking about the small group we meet with. We had gotten the habit of meeting once a month, and we'd meet at somebody's house, and we'd have dinner together, and then all of a sudden, okay, you can't do that anymore. And it was tough. So our small group has started getting together on Zoom, and you could tell the people that had done it before,
the Zoomers,
the ones that do it with work or do it, for this or that, and they were very comfortable. And the first time I wasn't as comfortable with it, but by the second time we met, it was just a really good thing to get with everybody and have a moment and share what you're going through and how you keep from killing your spouse. And, because my wife, this is kind of her life a lot of the time. We're together a lot, and it's difficult. A little Bob goes a long way sometimes. And so some of the other people in the group are getting to experience what she deals with on a daily basis. So we'll get back to that.
Yeah, we'll be Zooming in a minute. In the meantime, I would love to hear, where are you going? What's working for you? We can apply the Star Trek-nator to it if you'd like. We got a little more of this comedy coming your way I think you might enjoy. And most of all, we got Jesus is who we want to hear from.
Space, the final frontier.
Masks are useless at protecting you against the virus, but you still need to wear one because it can save lives. And in some cases, it may even be mandatory, but also maybe not. You must not go to work, but you can get another job, at which point you may go to work. Stay home. I don't know how many more celebrities we need to have tell you how important it is to go outside and take care of your mental health.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
We are boldly going where no man has gone before.
You're cracking me up with these. That is really cool. But it's true, Don't wear a mask, do wear a mask.
Oh, my goodness. It's the world we live in today. And, we're drivers. Every one of us in our heart is driving us somewhere. And so I'm curious about comfort shows. Where are you going to get comfort? Well, we're so blessed because we got people calling in at 866-348-7884, 866-348-7884. We have Jerry is in Mandan this morning. That's how near where I live. Jerry, you're on the Christian
Oh, really?
Yeah, I live in Stokesdale.
Oh, wow, that is close, yeah. Well, what I'm getting comfort from, the verse that says, he will keep him in perfect peace.
Yes.
Whose mind is stayed on thee. Yeah. Pardon me?
No, I'm listening.
Okay, I don't have a computer, and the cell phone I use is my son's, and I only use it for emergencies. I don't have family here. So anyway, no matter if I had family or not, where I get my comfort is the Lord. So what I use, I have a lot of Christian DVDs, and this one special one, because I don't have a great memory, The Attributes of God by Stephen Lawson from R.C. Sproul situation
really?
there.
Yeah.
So what I do, and I have the Call of the Cosmos, which puts things into perspective. In other words, when I think of God and his size, which you can't come to the end of, omnipresence, his omniscience, his sovereignty, his love, his character, his holiness, his wisdom, and the size of us, Earth is just like a speck when you see outer space.
Oh, yeah.
So you can imagine how small we are. So anyway, that keeps reminding me who's in charge, who has all power, his character and wisdom, and I'm his child, and so on. So if I end up with the coronavirus, I know where I'm going. This is an amazing opportunity for witnessing. People are, so I look at it from the spiritual side a lot. I don't have a lot of tragedy in my life here right now, and I'm older. I'm 83, so I don't have to worry about a job. So I understand there's other people that need other things.
Yes.
But anyway,
That's beautiful. Well, let Bob and I are going to put this in the Star Trekinator so that we can kind of pray for a minute and see if we can give you some other uplifting ideas of what you're experiencing, because I think that's absolutely beautiful, Jerry. Absolutely, very encouraging. Here we go.
Okay.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
Live long and prosper. Live long and prosper.
It says you're a winner, Jerry. You heard the ding, ding, ding.
I'm a winner.
You're
She's definitely a winner.
She is a winner.
She grabs her comfort from the most awesome place, and
did you see the stars are in there? You know, it's just like the way we were talking about that. But that's beautiful on the spec. But the thing I was thinking along your lines, Jerry, is that I was reading this week in Genesis where it says it's not good for man to be alone, and I have a sense that there's not a lot of people in your household.
No, but I do have a wonderful church, and I have a good church family.
Right. Well, let me. So, this is a beautiful thing, because here you can hear here's somebody that you might think is alone, but she's so far from alone. It's not even funny, because you just heard what she said. Now, if you look at the word alone in Hebrew, I don't know if you ever knew this, but it's actually pronounced in Hebrew bad. B-A-D, because it has a bet and a daled. So if you were to say bad to somebody in Hebrew, it says alone. However, a couple chapters down, which I personally think this is hilarious, by the way, that right after God said it's not good for man to be alone, he took Adam out with all the animals, trying to find a helper suitable for him. Now, this is a scene that is quite hilarious to me. Adam and there's a giraffe. No, the neck's too long on that one. The elephant. No, too big a nose. That one just doesn't work. and so at the end of all those shenanigans, right? No, the mosquitoes. That's just not going to work. Okay, it's just not going to work. So then he makes Eve. And right after that, he says you're to cleave to her. But actually, when you look at the word cleave, you'll find that more often in the Bible, you're to cleave to God than you are, to other people, although we're supposed to cleave, which is difficult when we're social distancing. However, the word cleave in Hebrew is almost bad spelled backwards. Like,
wow.
The word alone is a bet and a daled. Well, the word cleave is a daled and a bet. And the reason it is because if you have a house, which is what that bet is, and you put a servant in it, then there's only one person in the house, so who can we serve? Ourselves, right? It's self-serving. But if you have the daled before the house, then the servant is serving the house. And then there's a third letter in the word cleave, which is a cough, which is sort of this holy, like there's something really cool inside. And so the idea is, and I can hear it in your voice, that you're out there serving the body of Christ in your own way, so you're so far from alone. It's just beautiful, Jerry.
It's funny you should say that. I do witness, and I had a cancer operation on my eye, and I witnessed to the doctor and the nurses and so on. And they actually sent me I did give them God's Not Dead DVDs and so on. I know they have technology. But I talked during the whole thing. It was on my face. And the doctor said to me that was operating, where do you get these kind of movies? And I thought, wow, what an opening. So I sent him God's Not Dead 1, 2, and 3, and The Case for Christ. And he actually sent me a thank you note. I don't have you can imagine everybody with all their technology, and him, a surgeon.
Right.
A specialized surgeon, yeah. So, and led this lady at the post office to the Lord real fast in our masks and everything. I won't go into that.
Wow.
But anyway, no, it's not. It's not me. You know it, the Lord. And He's the one that saves people. We just tell.
Thank you. We've had so much fun with you today, Jerry. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we got Ramona is in Walnut Cove. She's going to share with us, and we need your calls. 866-348-7884. Thank you, Jerry. God bless you. Have a great weekend.
frontier.
The number of corona-related deaths will be announced daily, but we don't know how many people are infected because we were only testing those who are almost dead to determine if that's what they will die of. The people who die of corona who are not counted won't or will be counted, but maybe not.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
We're boldly going where no man has gone before today. On the Christian Car Guy Show, we would love to know, where are you getting your comfort in the midst of this battle? What's your comfort show, or what's your comfort go-to? 866-348-7884. I have my good friend Bob here with me, and we are using the Star Trekinator to help us to interpret some of these things. We have Ramona, who's been... I hung up on her accidentally, Bob. I felt so bad, but Ramona's been faithful. She's called right back. She's in Walnut Cove, North Carolina. Ramona, you're on the Christian Car Guy Show. Good morning.
Good morning, Robby. Thank you so much for your program. I just want to say it is wonderful listening to these stories and listening to your interpretation from your, what is it?
Star Trekinator.
NATO, Star Trek NATO. That is so cool. We have... had so much happen to us since the start of this shutdown. But anyway, the thing that I have found so refreshing is the Andy Griffith Show.
Ooh, ding, 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 ding.
You win. You win.
We did not grow up in the South. My husband is from the Northeast, and I'm from way out west, the left coast, California. And so we have discovered Andy Griffith, and he's on 2 times in the weeknights on the Me TV.
Yeah.
Because we don't have Netflix, so we can't watch all those neat Star Trek, which is what I kind of grew up on, was Star Trek with my son. We watched all the early ones. So, but he is such a blessing, Andy Griffith, how he deals with his irregular deputy, nip it in the bud, and all his crazy, wacky, we have just found so many precious lessons that we can relate to in Scripture.
That's amazing, young lady, because Robby had asked me about getting the show, what I'd been watching, and I've watched so much Andy, and every now and then I find an episode I hadn't seen before. And you just really touched my heart when you said that, because it's just been such a blessing to me. And we watch it a lot. And you can check on TV Land if you happen to have that. They have several episodes every evening, too.
All right, Bob, we got to put this in the Star Trekinator. Let's see what we can come up with.
Oh, my goodness.
Here we go. Uh-oh, the Star Trekinator got stuck. We're going to have to fix it. Here we go.
Oh, no.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
Live long and prosper. Live long and prosper.
Yeah, I knew she was a winner right away. I mean,
Absolutely.
there's just no doubt
Absolutely.
And here's my interpretation for what it's worth. Andy had wisdom like Jesus had wisdom, right? Because like when the Pharisees gave him 2 coins, how are we supposed to give money to Caesar? All those kind of things. Jesus had phenomenal wisdom to deal with real life problems, right? And when you think about when I think of Andy Griffith, I mean, here's a guy who loved his family. He loved Opie. He loved Aunt Bee. I mean, it's all about, and he loved his friend. He was such a good friend to Barney in spite of and I guess we all can relate to Barney, because we all know that we're bumbling around like
Barney does.
Like nip it in the bud, and pride and all these things. That's just beautiful. I can see the comfort there, because Ramona, I know you, and I know the fight at the prayer fight and all that you're in the battle. So I'm just so grateful that God's given you comfort through Andy.
And you never have to worry about a bad ending. You never have to worry about it.
Oh, we love that. We really don't like the new movies now, where everything ends bad. And it's just, everybody falls down, and it's, destruction and total, annihilation. And I'm like, no, that's not where we're headed for.
No, Andy always...
we know the end of the story.
Andy speaks my love language, which is to kid, right? Mm-hmm. The end of every Andy Griffith, he is going to kid Barney on whatever it is that's going on.
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah. But there was no doubt you knew he loved Don Knotts. And then from what I understand, in real life, he dearly loved Don Knotts.
Yeah, they were lifelong friends.
That's a beautiful thing. Thank you, Ramona. God bless. I'm comforted just to hear this stuff.
Thank you, Robbie. And maybe you could start one of your shows with the Andy Griffith.
I need to do that, yeah. Well, I use Barney quite often.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, nip it in the buds at the beginning of nearly every show.
All right, we have Anita is in Washington, Silverdale. She's called in at 866-348-7884. We got other people calling in. So, Anita, what's your comfort show?
Good morning. Sorry, my voice is a little bit weird, but my comfort show is like the H2. It's from PBS, Channel 9 Nature Show. It's called H2O, the molecule that made us.
Really?
And actually any nature show, and because, and of course I know that water isn't the molecule that made us. Our God is our amazing God who made us and created us. But it helps me to just be more in awe of God than just watching some mindless show on TV.
That is beautiful.
Because it's phenomenal how they've got the show. One of them says how water actually, they've measured the pulse of the universe with water on our planet, and it's just pretty astounding and amazing. I came across it accidentally. It was just kind of a jaw-dropping.
Well, wait till you wait. We got the Star Trek-nator for you, Anita. I think we're fixed to blow you away with what the Star. I'm getting signals from the Star Trek-nator that it's got some really cool stuff for you. So here we go.
Danger,
there
Will
it
Robinson. Danger.
Live long and prosper. Live long and prosper.
Bob, Anita is clearly, she may be the all-time winner so far today, because what she has described is like, oh my goodness. Are you aware, Anita, that that the letter mem in the Bible, the one that is in the Hebrew, is the letter that starts the word Messiah, and it means water.
Oh my word. Isn't that amazing?
And Jesus is the living water.
Living water, yes, he is.
Yes, he is. And when Samson got his fountain, there were springs of living water, the water that came up in the desert for Miriam. And Miriam was Mary, okay, and she hung out. And right, she was the one that sang to the Miriam's well from the Hebrew tradition. And think about who was at the tomb, and the stone was rolled away. It was Mary, and what does her name start with? A mem, same as Miriam. And so, by the way, does Moses.
Oh,
and that the word, the letter mem has two different ways that you can make it in the Bible. One, if a word starts with a mem, it's an open mem, and if it's in the middle of a letter. But if it's at the end of a letter, if it's at the end of the word, it's closed. And the idea is that you have flowing water. The way you say water in Hebrew is a mem and then a yud and then a closed mem. And it's the idea of water can be flowing. It can be coming down as a droplet, or it can be enclosed like a sea. And when you think about what all Jesus did with water, storms, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean...
It really warms my heart that you get comfort from science, and so many believers think that science challenges our beliefs, and for me, it just verifies that it's all so complex that it's not random and it's not by accident, and that science can reaffirm my beliefs instead of challenging them.
Yes, absolutely.
What's the name of this show? I got to write it down because I got to check this out.
H2?
It is. It's H2O, the molecule that made us. Of course, we know that it didn't make us, our God did, but it's just astounding because there's 3 different series to it, and it talks about the pulse of water over our earth, and it's like a heartbeat. It's astounding how they've mapped this out.
Is that pulse? Is that like the tides coming in and out, or?
No, it's even more than that. The tides are involved in it, but there's actually we all know about the rivers in the atmosphere, but it's a pulse above the atmosphere.
That's right, because it's in heaven. You're right. Oh, Anita, we got to go to a break. You are so awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're a winner by all means. We're so grateful you called in. We got Dan is also in Washington. We need your call. 866-348-7884, 866-34-TRUTH. We come back.
Space, the final frontier.
Masks are useless at protecting you against the virus, but you still need to wear one because it can save lives. And in some cases, it may even be mandatory, but also maybe not. You must not go to work, but you can get another job, at which point you may go to work. Stay home. I don't know how many more celebrities we need to have tell you how important it is to go outside and take care of your mental health.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
We are boldly going today on the Christian Car Guy Show. And you might say, Robbie, what does it have to do with cars? Well, it has everything to do with cars because our hearts are the drivers of our lives in so many different ways. And if we take care of our hearts right, we're going to be going to good places. And unfortunately, I didn't always go to good places this week. And it was helpful if I'm getting help from God and guiding my heart. So we're asking you to call in at 866-348-7884, 866-34-TRUTH. And I should mention, of course, ChristianCarGuy.com, that Jesus Labor Love went on this week. It was so wonderful. Got a donation of a car this week, which is always really, really cool. We got that in the process. And, of course, we had a chance to help 3 or 4 single moms, widows, families in crisis as a result of your generous prayers and your generous gifts, which flowed in really just like, and it blows my mind, Bob. I mean, it always does. I know it should, but God's so good.
He shall provide.
He does. He does. And it's so nice when, I get that call and the ladies in such desperate need and they can get a little help. It's a wonderful thing. The other thing I want to mention is this is our first week ever to be on more than 100 radio stations. That the Life FM network picked us up and put us on several more stations. And so I am blessed out of my socks, really, Bob, that we're on now over 100 radio stations across the country, and each and every one of them, I am so grateful. You have no idea that God is using this ministry in any way, shape, or form to help some folks out there. And one of those wonderful ones, I think it's KCIS. It's in Washington. Wonderful, wonderful station. We got Dan who's listening out there. Dan, good morning.
Good morning.
Is it KCIS that you're listening to?
Yes, KCIS.
That's a wonderful
we
station.
We don't have cable at our house. We have antenna TV.
Oh, good.
And we can get roughly 50 channels on our antenna, and one of them has Christian shows on it, movies.
Mm-hmm.
So it's called Positive TV, POSI TV. Anyhow,
how cool! Positive.
Have, the full-length movies based on a Christian principle. It's just a real neat thing for people that don't have cable. I don't know if they are on cable as well, but it's sure neat just to turn on the TV and
I'm going to look that up. I like that. I love their idea of the use of language. I mean, positive TV.
Yeah.
So which of those movies has really spoken to you lately?
Well, we've watched quite a few of them. One of them featured a young man who had Down syndrome.
Oh, wow.
And he worked in a grocery store. And they called him Produce because his job was in the produce department.
I've seen that movie.
And he had quite an influence on one of the guys.
Yeah. We got to put positive in the Star Trekinator. I'm very familiar. That is such a cool movie. Bob, are you ready? Are you ready, Bob, for the Star Trekinator? All right, we're going to see what it has to say for Dan in Washington. Here we go. Once again, the Star Trekinator got a little stuck. You know how it is with the plague and all.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
Live long and prosper. Live long and prosper.
There you go, Bob. Can I just start out by saying, you may not know this, Dan, but I teach special needs ministries at our church and have for a lot of years. And this week, we've been doing our stuff on Zoom, like anything else. And we have this one young man named Logan, and Logan's not the most, he's actually got autism. He's not Down syndrome, but we have lots of folks in our class that have Down syndrome. But they're all such a treasure. Okay. And they all lead you to God in so many different ways. Logan, at the end of the call, who really usually is not going to give you any kind of a story, or he's a wonderful, wonderful boy, and his heart is for God always. But he says, Robby, I have a joke for you. Now, for Logan to tell me a joke, you can imagine what that did for my heart, Dan. I mean, it was huge. And so he says, Robby, you know why there's no toilet paper? This is Logan telling me this. Have you heard this, Bob?
I'm not sure.
Because the roll was called up yonder.
Very good.
That's really,
And the fact that Logan told me that joke, I mean, just shows you who's in control. I mean, you know, they like your friend Produce in your movie, Dan. There are so many people out there that have so much to offer us if we'll take time to interact with them, you know?
Yes.
It's just beautiful.
Well, Logan was a very honest person, and that's got him in trouble with some people, but was a blessing to others.
Bob, did you have? I didn't want to leave you out.
No, I'm good.
On the Star Trekinator. All right. Well, Dan, as always, we are so grateful for you guys up there and for your prayers, and we're so glad you too are a winner. In case we didn't mention, but by all means. We love where you're going with your heart and where Jesus is meeting you there. Thank you so much for calling us today.
Good day.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. We have Keith. Our old friend Keith is in High Point. Good morning, Keith.
Good morning.
I'm excited to know where you're going, Keith.
I love your show.
Thank you.
This stuff with the virus, since it came out, just has never sat well with me for some reason. Hearing all the double speak even reinforces that. But things that help me out is not TV shows as much. Well, you know, I like to watch the Andy Griffith Show and things, and Star Trek on Saturday nights. But it's in Psalms 91.
Oh, yeah.
Verse 10. That one, and Luke chapter 10, verse 19.
What is that? What is Luke 10:19?
It's, behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you.
Wow. Well, we don't have time to play the whole Star Trekinator on that, but just we're going to tell you how big a winner you are, people. There you go.
Well, can I give you a joke?
You can.
Okay. This virus that's come around is a leftist progressive dream come true. You can't buy guns, you can't go to church, and everybody's unemployed.
That's scary. That's scary.
Yeah.
But that's very good, Keith. But thank you. Yes, I love that. I'm going to have to go spend some time in Luke. How about you, Bob?
I'm not familiar with the verse he was speaking of, but
it's encouraging, though, isn't it?
Highly.
You've been trampling snakes for a long time.
Years and years, brother. Years and years.
something we should remember. When Peter was walking on the water, looking at Jesus, he was fine. When he started looking at the wind, the waves, and hearing the thunder and all that, he started to sink.
Lost his focus, didn't he, brother?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and we have to focus like a laser, not like a flashlight.
That's the story of my life, is losing my focus.
You're a winner, Keith.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening and for having fun with us today. We are so grateful. We really, really are, aren't we, Bob, for all the wonderful calls today and all.
We had great calls, but the roll was caught up yonder.
Remember, slow down. Jesus walked everywhere he went. Got it all done in 33 years. Thank you for listening to the Christian Car Guy Show.